Hey everyone. Journeying into space is pretty dangerous stuff. Nick Hague and Alexei Ovchinin are the astronaut and the cosmonaut who in 2018 escaped a malfunctioning rocket after launching. Thankfully, they got out fine, but as history has shown, not all astronauts have been as lucky. Today, let's know about some of the worst accidents and malfunctions in space. Let's start the video, but before that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video.
This is Houston, contact with a test 3, 2.
In July 2013, Italian astronaut Luca Parmitano had a tough time aboard the ISS Expedition 36. During a spacewalk, Parmitano's helmet began filling up with liquid. It sloshed around the helmet, making it impossible for the astronaut to communicate. Parmitano couldn't clean up the mess by drinking it, so he kept his cool. The spacewalk was cancelled and the astronaut made it out alive, despite needing a fresh towel.
This is Houston, contact with a test 3, 2.
The Challenger disaster was one of the biggest tragedies in history of spaceflight. The NASA mission took place in January 1986 with 7 astronauts members on board. Just a minute after the space shuttle took off, there was a malfunction and a fire spread to the rocket itself. The shuttle eventually exploded and all 7 crew members were killed. NASA's space shuttle program was subsequently suspended, albeit temporarily. Apollo 12 was a mission marred by accidents, but thankfully it didn't end in complete disaster. During launch, the rocket was hit with not one but 2 lightning strikes. The crew, comprised of Charles Conrad, Alan L. Bean, and Richard F. Gordon, still made it to the moon and took some nice photos too. When they returned and splashed down, there was another accident. Bean was hit with the camera, suffering concussion. Luckily, Mission Commander Conrad bandaged up the wound in no time.
This is Houston, contact with a test 3.
The Columbia disaster took place in 2003 and mirrored the tragic events surrounding the earlier Challenger mission. Upon re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, the Columbia disintegrated and all 7 crew members were tragically killed. The crew may have died, but an experiment they performed survived. A group of worms were on board the Columbia and they amazingly withstood re-entry.
This is Houston, contact with a test 3.
Soyuz 11 was another disaster which hit the Soviet space program. The mission was launched in 1971 with cosmonauts Georgy Dobrovsky, Vladislav Volkov, and Viktor Patsayev. After staying 3 weeks aboard the Salyut 1 space station, the trio undocked and intended to journey home. They wouldn't make it. A cabin vent valve opened by accident and all 3 crew members were killed. They are the only people to ever die in space. In 1975, history was made. For the first time, America and the Soviet Union teamed up for the Apollo-Soyuz mission. The mission was very successful. However, disaster struck upon re-entry. There was a poisonous gas leak in the American Apollo cabin. All 3 astronauts suffered but were healed within weeks. Michael J. Adams didn't have much to worry about before heading on this mission on November 15, 1967. This was, after all, his 7th flight. But on this particular day in the mining town of Johannesburg, California, his aircraft broke apart just minutes after launch, killing Adams. While descending, his aircraft entered a violent spin. Its design did not allow it to withstand such force, and it ultimately broke up to 10 minutes and 35 seconds after launch, with Adams dying as a result.
Let's use some contact with a test 3.
Vladimir Komarov was the first cosmonaut to go to space twice. His second time aboard the Soyuz 1 spacecraft ended in disaster. The Soyuz 1 mission took place in April 1967 and Komarov intended to reach the moon's surface. However, the spacecraft had some dramatic malfunctions. Komarov planned to return to Earth, but the spacecraft's parachutes didn't work. Komarov died, making him the first fatality in spaceflight. Well, that's it for today. I hope you're liking Nerdies discoveries. Can't wait for the next video to learn more and be fascinated about. See you on the next. Bye.